Tonight on the Electric Playground, break out that wish list as we take a look at the coolest new gadgets from Samsung. We head to NaturalMotion for some natural motion capture. Walking Dead and Spawn collectibles are lumbering into the show.
Today on the Sonar, I'll tell you how you can beat up on bad guys as Robin in Batman Arkham City.
And we have an exclusive first look at the upcoming MMO Origins of Malu. Welcome to the Electric Playground. We are the show that brings you the latest in everything cool every single day. My name is Victor Lucas, and I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father. I also want to bring you the rundown. Here it is. We finally know what the mysterious new project Star Wars Identities is going to be. It's a new traveling museum exhibition that will showcase costumes, models, artwork, and other props from the Star Wars films. Visitors will even get to see the original Yoda puppet and Anakin Skywalker's full-sized pod racer. Attendees can also learn more about the characters from the galaxy far, far away, along with the influences that helped to shape them. Word of Star Wars Identities first surfaced earlier this month, with many fans speculating that it would be a new game in the franchise. We'll have more details on the exhibit as they develop. It'll kick off April 2012 in Montreal and force its way to additional cities after that. A launch date has been set for the next voyage of the Starship Enterprise, and it's heading to the third dimension. The follow-up to the 2009 Star Trek adventure will warp into theaters on May 17, 2013. The film was originally slated to arrive in 2012, but was pushed back. Paramount Pictures has also revealed that the film will be shot in eye-popping 3D, making it the first Star Trek film to embrace the third dimension. All of the familiar characters will be back, along with director J.J. Abrams. The Wolfman star Benicio del Toro is rumored to be in talks to play the main villain, with fans speculating that he'll appear as the classic evildoer Khan. Shooting begins in January 2012. And the Star Trek sequel is going to have some competition when it hits theaters. A big screen adaptation of the popular short film Pixels is also scheduled to arrive on May 17, 2013. The original short was released on the internet last year and sees classic 8-bit video game characters pixelize and destroy New York City. The creator of the video is also directing the big screen version, and it's expected to have a comedic tone. We'll let you know if Pixels picks another release date. World of Warcraft players are about to get some cool new content. The game's long-awaited patch 4.3, also known as Hour of Twilight, is rumored to be set for release on Tuesday next week or the week after that. Developer Blizzard Entertainment hasn't revealed an official release date, but has unleashed a lengthy preview video. The patch will finally give WoW players the ability to slay the deadly dragon Deathwing, and they'll be able to explore 3 new dungeons. Blizzard will also introduce a raid finder system designed to help players quickly and easily form their raids. Another new system known as transmogrification gives WoWers the ability to customize the appearance of their weapons and armor. Going forward, Blizzard hopes to release more new content more often.
We definitely want to continue to provide as much content as possible to the players. We're still working out how quickly we can actually produce that content and get that out to you guys. But for the most part, that's definitely one of the philosophies going forward.
It is too powerful.
One of the most popular games in the Rayman franchise is getting an HD remake.
That's exactly what we need.
The 2003 game, Rayman 3 Hoodlum Havoc, will return with a high-definition makeover early next year. The original version gave new powers and abilities to the limbless main character and received critical praise for its zany plot and voice acting. The new version of Rayman 3 will offer improved graphics and audio, along with new mini-games, achievements, and online leaderboards. If you're craving more from the series, the all-new adventure, Rayman Origins, is out now. Gears of War 3 players can choose to accept a nearly impossible mission. Players who beat the game on its ultra-challenging, insane difficulty setting will receive the free Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol Weapon Skin Pack. It offers special in-game weapons based on the kind used in the upcoming spy film, including a new version of the deadly Gears Lancer. Players will need to download the free Versus Booster Map Pack to be eligible, and the challenge ends on December 31st. Players who have already completed Gears 3 on its insane setting won't have to do it again to get the content. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol will infiltrate theaters next month. It sees Tom Cruise return to the role of Special Agent Ethan Hunt, with the Hurt Locker star Jeremy Renner jumping in as a new character. Former Pixar filmmaker Brad Bird serves as director, making it his live-action debut. Up next, Todd McFarlane's got some new collectibles, and we've got an exclusive first look at a new MMO. Welcome back to the Electric Playground, where we bring you tomorrow's entertainment today. Brianna's here now with Burning Dog Media to give us an exclusive early look at an upcoming game called Origins of Malu. Take it away, B.
Maybe with these stones, I could find a way to bring my parents back. Or at least take me away from this place.
Joined here in studio by Michael Dunham of Burning Dog Media, you're here to show off your upcoming title, Origins of Malu. So what exactly is it that you can show us here today?
Well, what we brought here today is kind of some early alpha footage, just to give people an idea of a little bit of the ambience of the actual game itself and see, what the world actually looks like a little bit. The world itself is in Malu, which is this far off, distant world that's part of this gigantic energy network. It's a story about San, who's not a happy guy, and he's kind of out wandering around. So that's where we want to start, and that's kind of where we want to continue. And then we've also brought some preliminary combat and some other little things like that.
So what is the story that's being shown off in this teaser trailer?
Well, the story is about San, and he's kind of like a disgruntled Jola, and Jola is like one of the playable races in our game, and he's been abandoned by his village, per se, and he's kind of out there and looking for something different, looking for better answers. It's about perception of your own reality and perception of the things around you, and he's someone that's kind of came into understanding that what is going on around him isn't necessarily what should be going on around him, so he's looking for something different. He's out there looking for answers, and that's really the basis of the story there.
Tell me more about the title of the game and how that kind of reveals what the game is about.
The world of Malu itself, it's part of this gigantic network of portals around the universe. They're all linked through interdimensions. The Jola, they're on Malu itself, but there's actually other planets in that system, and they're all connected through a dimensional energy network. That's kind of what it's about. We wanted to create a story-based sandbox game where the user was able to do what they want to do from the beginning and really build off their playstyles. We wanted to stay away from class designations, but at the same time, we also wanted to maintain a story. It can't be just a complete free-for-all, but at the same time, we don't want railroad tracks.
Describe the type of game this is, because it's not your typical MMO.
No, it's not. It would be like an RTS/sandbox/MMO/FPS. We really wanted to create our own product and do it our own way.
Michael, thank you very much for coming by our studio.
Thanks.
And right now we're going to meet up with Shaun because he's going to spread some toys to the world.
Todd, 2011 has been a great year for McFarlane Toys. We've had the Halo 10th anniversary. We've got Walking Dead action figures. We're finally ripping apart our own zombie toys. What can we expect from you guys in 2012?
We always hope that there's just more of the same, right? Because when you go get a license, you hope that it goes for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So Halo's going gangbusters. They're going to have the new game out in 2012, right? Walking Dead, I think, is really, although it came out of the gate big and hard, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. The good thing about that is we get to then keep rolling out series after series. So instead of talking about it in little short fragments, we may have 20, 30 figures out by the end of 2012. We'll continue to do some monster toys, some of the Spawn, and then we'll continue to do our sports figures, and those are 365-day programs. So we're doing pretty good.
McFarlane Toys has been around for a long time now. What keeps you excited about the toy industry?
Looking at the competition and seeing what they're doing, and it motivates you to make sure that you don't sort of rest on your laurel. When I first broke into the toy business, there weren't too many toys that were out in the marketplace that I was jealous of. Well, now you fast forward almost 15, 20 years, and a lot of people have done some really good stuff, taken some notes out of our playbook, and now there's dozens and dozens. So it keeps you on your toes, where we used to have a big distance artistically. It's getting tighter and tighter every year. And just trying to find licenses, especially small companies. The big Fortune 500 guys, Hasbro, Mattel, they get to swallow those up. So we have to be on the lookout for those proverbial diamonds in the rough and try and get the license sort of before they get too big and too popular.
Are there any image properties that you are really excited about working with in McFarlane Toys?
We do a wide variety now, very eclectic, the books that are in there. So I'd like someday to just do an overview of image for 20, 30 years, and just one day do like one figure from maybe the top 20 books that we've done that have had the biggest impact in the comic book industry. I think that'd be kind of cool. Maybe even put it all in one big giant box for Christmas.
We can always count on Todd McFarlane for some cool toys and collectibles, and that wraps up our Toy to the World series. You can always get caught up online, though. We'll be right back with more EP. Up next, a zombie-filled add-on and some natural mocap. You've returned to the Electric Playground, and we're just about to pay a visit to the San Francisco office of NaturalMotion, whose technology helps to power some of our favorite games. Take it away, Jose.
Chances are, if you've played a video game recently, you have experienced NaturalMotion. Now, Torsten, tell me a little bit about what NaturalMotion is and how you guys made it so awesome, because it's pretty cool.
So we're a games technology company. We produce animation technology for console games and for iOS and Android games. We have technology that allows us to simulate humans in real time. So we can simulate the body, the muscles, and the nervous system of those humans that makes them walk. That was originally based on university research at Oxford University, but now it's running in quite a lot of games, for example, Grand Theft Auto 4.
Oh, hey, Nico.
Where's Ron?
Good question.
So there's no sort of motion capture involved at all? It's just a program you guys developed to where it recreates the actual body and movement?
Our Euphoria technology doesn't need and doesn't use any motion capture data, so it is fully simulated human. We have another product called Morpheme, which can use motion capture data, and that uses that motion capture data and blends it together in really clever ways, and that can then again be combined with Euphoria to give you the best of both worlds, so to speak.
When did you guys realize that this was something that was going to take off and explode and get as big as it got?
I think the big breakthrough for us was when Rockstar Games wanted to use our technology in Grand Theft Auto 4. That was a big break for us because we've been massive fans of Grand Theft Auto, and it was just the perfect fit because Rockstar creating breathing, living worlds, and that's what our technology does as well.
You guys have also taken the NaturalMotion ability and shrunk it down to the iOS. Now I can take it with me on my iPhone. Talk to us about some of the work you guys are doing with the iOS.
So what we found over the last, I guess, 18 to 24 months is that devices like the iPhone or Android devices were becoming fast enough to run our technology in real time. And we think that's really exciting because that means that we can bring our technology and high-end games to an even larger audience than was possible before on consoles. So within probably the next 2 years, your smartphone will be faster than the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. And that means that the experience you can get on those will be equivalent, if not better, than what you can get in your home console. And that's really exciting for us because we require computing power, and we're getting that from those devices now.
Police! Don't shoot!
You know, you mentioned that you do work with Rockstar, and was it also like for you guys to have other companies adapt Morpheme as well and branch out and make it this big, huge sensation that it is?
Yeah, so Rockstar is a huge partner for us, but we have obviously a lot of other clients that are using our technology, in particular Morpheme. We think it's a leading animation engine, and really what it does, it allows you to create much more believable character performances in-game, because really what you want to make sure is if you have really nice graphics in the game, then you need to make sure that the way humans move, the characters on the screen, looks realistic as well, otherwise it breaks the illusion, and that's really what Morpheme does.
Okay. No, I can't do it. My cousin will do it.
NaturalMotion's tech is pretty incredible, but right now it's time to get caught up on the latest in handheld and downloadable titles with Shaun in the Sonar.
Sometimes you just don't feel like leaving the house to buy some new games, and it's times like those when downloadable games and content prove themselves to be most convenient. This week it's no different, and kicking things off is the latest expansion for Batman Arkham City, the Robin Bundle Pack. The download allows players to step into the boots of the Boy Wonder, who is playable in the game's challenge maps and also includes 2 of his own, Black Mask and Freight Train. Robin can make use of batarangs, explosive gel, and smoke bombs, but he also has his own unique abilities such as his zip kick, stun grenade, and shield. As we approach the colder winter months, it's only natural to want to visit a nice tropical destination, perhaps a nice secluded island, but oh no, you chose Dead Island, where you'll be fighting hordes of undead in the Bloodbath Arena DLC. Enjoy intense zombie fighting fun in both single and multiplayer modes as you enter 4 different arenas to see how long you can survive the zombie apocalypse. You'll have a new weapon at your disposal, the Brainwave Bomb. If you're the type who loves to show off, you can do so by tracking your progress on the online leaderboards and proving just how badass you truly are. Dead Island isn't the only game with a bloodbath arena, because the entirety of Mortal Kombat takes place in several bloody arenas, and if you missed the game's disc release earlier this year, you can finally finish your opponents easily while you play it on demand. Shao Kahn and his Outworld minions are threatening to take over the Earth Realm, and the only way to stop him is through Mortal Kombat. The story mode of this game has you playing as both heroes and villains as you explore the reimagined history of these characters and their violent relationships with one another. Lay the smackdown on your friends and total strangers in online battles and punish enemies with brutal X-ray attacks, devastating combos, and life-ending fatalities. In case you didn't know, we are living in an age of zombies, my friend. They're in so many different games, including one called Age of Zombies, which has a brand new follow-up called Age of Zombies Anniversary. This HD remastered edition features our hero Barry Steak Fries fighting it out with zombies in some very intense twin-stick shooter action. Travel to the Wild West, prehistoric Earth, ancient Egypt, and feudal Japan, all while destroying swarms of enemies. Blaze through ninja zombies, cavemen, mummies, cowboys, and as if that weren't enough goofy enemies for you, you also get to fight a zombie T-Rex. And because I can't possibly decline the opportunity to fight a zombie T-Rex, I'm gonna go show him who's boss right now, but you should stick around because more EP is coming up after the break.
After the break, hot new gadgets from Samsung and a heavy new metal series. Welcome back to the Electric Playground, and we know you are freaking out thinking of ideas for the holidays. Well, our friends at Samsung might have some. Here's Shaun.
Paul, it's been a huge year for Samsung in terms of phones. Tell me about the Samsung Galaxy S2 line.
The Galaxy S2 line builds upon the Galaxy S line that we had last year. So now we have dual-core processors, larger megapixel cameras, and much faster download speeds. And they use a different screen from before. They use now a Super AMOLED Plus screen. What that means is better clarity in text as well as photographs. Even though the screens are really big, they're very, very light. And actually, the Galaxy S2 4G is one of the thinnest phones that we've ever created.
Samsung has a lot of really cool cameras out there on the market. Tell me a little bit about the MV800 and what makes it so special.
So the MV800 is an evolution of our 2-view product. MV standing for multi-view. And instead of having two LCDs on this particular camera, we've used the same LCD that can actually flip up to the front so that you can have a full-size image instead of a smaller one that we had in our previous concept. So what this enables us to do, besides getting that great self-portrait, is now we can change our screen position, flip the camera upside down, and it'll reorient the photo. So now we can shoot over the tops of people's heads in a crowd and get shots that normally you wouldn't be able to take.
And for those people who want to go beyond still photography, you've got the W200. What is this camera all about?
So the W200 is what we're calling a robust or tough camera. First of all, it's shockproof. Secondly, it's waterproof. It's also freeze-proof, so it's great for skiers as well. Add to that, it's got a very, very bright lens on it, an f2.2 lens, and a much larger sensor than your typical cell phone. You're getting better quality. Allows us to leave our cell phone in our pocket or somewhere else where it's safe, and this guy goes out where it's not so safe.
Another camera you guys have is the NX200. What is that one all about?
So the NX200 is an evolution of our mirrorless concept. We saw that a lot of people were buying into SLRs. The problem was, because of their bulk and the complexity, they weren't using them. So we removed the whole mirror assembly. That enabled us to get the size down, so now it's a very convenient size to carry around. To simplify things, we've done a number of things on the control end of it. What we've done is we've enabled our lenses to access the controls on the camera. We hit the button and our focusing ring now gets repurposed to be an aperture ring, or it can be a shutter speed ring, so it becomes very, very simple for a beginner, but also really great for an advanced shooter because now they don't have to take their eyes away from the subject when they're changing their settings. They can actually keep their eye on the viewfinder while they're making all their different parameter changes.
That's very cool. One ring to control them all, so to speak.
Shaun does love his gadgets, but he's also a metalhead, so he was pretty excited to take a trip through the history of metal with the Metal Evolution.
In the early 60s, rock and roll crossed the Atlantic from America to Britain, kicking off what is famously known as the British Invasion. And if there's one band from this invasion that's part of the story of heavy metal, it's the Kinks.
I consider myself a big fan of history and music history, and I would have loved to learn something about this in school. But what is Metal Evolution?
Well, Metal Evolution is an 11-part TV series on the history of heavy metal. It's the biggest thing that's ever been done on the history of really hard rock and heavy metal music. It spans from classical music right through to the birth of rock and roll, and then right up to contemporary metal.
Many documentaries have explored the history of jazz, classical, and the blues. But still, I feel metal has never really got its due.
You guys are huge into metal, of course. You know a lot about it, but in your research for this show, did you come across anything that really surprised you?
The biggest surprise was the extent to which early jazz music actually has been such a huge influence on a lot of metal musicians. I think when I was a teenager, I loved metal, and that was kind of my music. And then later on, I started to listen to jazz because I was starting to get into playing music. but they always seem like two separate things. But sitting down with the guys from Sabbath and a lot of other early metal musicians, you realize that the real freedom and the improvisation that a lot of jazz musicians brought to the music was hugely influential. So it has this weird kind of structure of classical, but then that sense of experimentation and risk-taking that happens in a lot of jazz music, that was appealing to metal guys as well.
I think it goes without saying that a lot of fans of metal are going to dig this series, but who else might dig it?
Generally, I think there's still that sort of assumption that metal doesn't really have strong roots, that it seemed to sort of spontaneously combust in the 1980s, and all of a sudden everyone showed up with like terrible haircuts and spandex pants. But the reality is that there's a history to this music that goes through to bands like The Who, the first bands to use the Marshall amplifier and to start really playing with distortion. There's a lot in this show that is not just for the diehard metal fan. It covers a much bigger spectrum than I think people realize.
I would just like to correct you there. You said terrible hair in metal in the 80s, and I think you meant to say awesome hair.
Heavy metal is the greatest noise that ever was created.
You can catch Metal Evolution on Much More Music in Canada and VH1 in the States. And here's a look at what's coming soon to the Electric Playground. On the next EP Daily, a new Aliens game is bursting out of chests. Our Storytelling 2.0 series kicks off with some robot heart stories. And coming soon to EP, make a list and check it twice with our 2011 Holiday Gift Guide. If you missed anything or want to watch it again, visit g4tv.ca, or to find out more about EP, go to our website at electplay.com. You can also follow us on Twitter under electplay, or catch up with us on Facebook under Electric Playground. All right, my friends, it's time for me to leave, but not before I give you a look at what will probably be the last big game of 2011. It's Star Wars: The Old Republic. Enjoy that, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Very well. Then we die together!